So guys, this is the man exposing terror financiers in Nigeria. During the time of Buhari, he came up with an investigation that he did and ended up with so many names and those financing terrorism both within Nigeria and outside Nigeria. And because he leaked their secret, guess what? They forcefully retired him after arresting him and like putting him in jail or in detention. You know, later for them to release him, they handed him his retirement letter that he had to go. He has come out again. He has been speaking on Arise TV, and I'm going to be sharing with you one of the videos that he shared. He is insisting that, you know, many northern elites are the ones sponsoring terrorism. Like you can see, Sahara Reporters published this headline yesterday saying terror suspect alleged financiers were linked to powerful Nigerians, including ex-Agf Malami, former army chiefs, others, army chiefs, not one, others too. This is coming from a major general of the Nigerian army, although he has been retired. You know, they forcefully retired him. Not that he retired because he was due for retirement, but because he exposed some people who were sponsoring terrorism. Guess what? They forcefully retired him. I'm just going to allow you to take a look at his own part of the story. I'm going to be sharing another video of his in another video, but take your time and listen for yourself all that he said in this video, just for you to know that terrorism is not going to end in Nigeria. Northerners are the ones sponsoring these terror groups, and it is the northern elites, not even the fighters in the bush. You know, these are even like the secondary problem. The main problem, the primary problem is you know, those who are sponsoring these people. These are the elites in the north, and you can see they've started mentioning names. In the next video, I'll be sharing more names that, you know, that have been exposed. But take your time and watch this video just for you to know that the north, they are the ones pushing for Nigeria to fall to Islamic states by all means. And why is Tinubu not bold enough to expose them? Tinubu is afraid for his life. Tinubu is afraid for his second term. Tinubu is afraid let the North not hold him responsible, and that is why you can see there is no political will. It's not as if Tinubu does not know what to do, but people call him master strategist. We are yet to see that strategy in fighting insecurity. With all this exposure coming out now, with all this information out there, tell me what Tinubu is still waiting. You know, what is keeping Tinubu from taking the right step? Just because he's afraid for his life, he's also afraid, you know, so that the North does not reject him come 2027, and that's why he's sleeping on the list for those who are sponsoring terrorism in Nigeria. But take your time and watch this interview. I'll be bringing another interview of this man for you to see all the details that he's dishing out, that the APC government cannot hide again. They are the ones involved in all these things we are seeing today. All those under Buhari and under this Tinubu's government, a whole lot of them. He has mentioned Malami now. He has also mentioned army chiefs, just like CDS, former CDS, Lucky Erabo said recently on Channels Television that politicians, some politicians are the ones sponsoring terrorism in Nigeria. Now another army general is here to share another story again, just to confirm what you know, General Lucky Erabo said. Take your time, watch this video. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Please don't forget to subscribe and turn on the bell notification. Now take a look.
I was thrown out of the army 2021. So I don't know.
When you say you were thrown out, what do you mean?
I was compulsory retired.
Right.
You know, I mean, there was an operation which I led, the Operation Service-Wide, the counter-terrorism, you know, to arrest those terrorism financiers, if you recall.
Right.
It was all over celebrated by even the former president, the former Attorney General, Minister of Defense. When when they came out and said we arrested, we picked the terrorism financiers, sponsors, all that. I was the commander of that, and I reported straight to the district. And they were in detention, and that was when we even picked, as a matter of fact, the leader of Boko Haram. The leader of Boko Haram was not Shekau. Shekau, you know,
was
died.
A spokesman, more or less, at the time.
Yes, the poster boy, so to speak. But the real leader, we captured him. And incidentally, or ironically, he's not even a Nigerian, but he claimed he's been in Nigeria for some time, but he's not a Nigerian. So, anyway, we arrested those guys, and they were in detention. We were collaborating with so many countries, about 33 countries, a key Western country, the United Arab Emirates, and we got a lot of intelligence from them. we picked those people. Some were picked from the battlefield, from the front line. Some were even outside the country. We picked them, and they were in detention. And then waiting for them to be prosecuted. Then in September, October 2nd or thereabout, next thing I was invited, set for interview at the military police headquarters. And I went there on the 18th, and I was arrested myself and detained in a cell.
What for?
I don't know. I was 10 initially. When I reported there, the interrogators said when I was removed as a general officer commanding on the 8th of August 2021, I handed over on the 10th of August 2021, 2 days later, because the posting came via signal posting in the night. I became aware of it the following day. That was on the 9th. So on the 10th, I handed over and left and continued with the Operation Service Wide, that one that I reported to the design. The Operation Service Wide was a multi-agency and military, organizations that were this, and the DSS was there, the NFIU was there, the NIA was there, the DIA was there, and other this, and I was the head of that organization, and I reported straight to the president, and we picked those people, those top, this thing, including the leader of the Boko Haram, including 5 of the key guys of this thing. I was invited, and then when I got there, they said I was removed as a general officer commanding. That was, like I said, on the 10th of August, and I didn't report to the resource center, the Nigerian Army Resource Center, where I was supposed to listen. And what really happened was that when I was removed, I reported straight to the presidency and I said, okay, this was what they said, do not report. That they were going to address it.
Right.
And this thing. So I didn't know it was set up. They kept on listening. I tried to report, they refused to listen. The former president is there. There are people there in the presidency.
Well, I have to say, that part of it sounds very complicated.
Yes.
Because we don't really know the background and everything to it.
To unmasking prominent Nigerians allegedly financing terror and oil theft. Why do you hold this view? Allegedly so. And do you know, one would ask whether you know them. If true, what do you think is responsible for the past administration's attitude, regarding this so-called financiers of terror?
Okay, thank you very much again for this brilliant question. Now, let me, relate to my experience, right, as the commander of the Operation Service Wide, which was an intelligence-driven outfit. Now, like I said, we picked the main leaders and other facilitators, financiers, sponsors, and this. And then we commenced investigation.
By picked, you mean you arrested?
Arrested, captured, arrest, Now, we picked them. That is, it was a collaborative effort, those elements that I mentioned. And investigation was ongoing, and the investigation team was made up of representatives from the Department of State Services, from the Defense Intelligence Agency, from the military police, that's the army aspect of it, from the NFIU, the investigation, and it revealed so much. And like I earlier said, right, certain intelligence was shared. We were collaborating with about 33 countries in Europe, Western Europe, Asia, and other distant were collaborating with us and distant. Now, in the course of the investigation, we stumbled upon names of individuals, prominent individuals, and some of them are still prominent, and including the owner of an airline who was ferrying weapons allegedly for Boko Haram and other this. So those information, we took our concern made our concern known, the investigation in terms of interim listing to the powers that be at the time. And some of those people were linked to even cabinet ministers. Some of the people were even arrested. Some of the people who were investigating were linked to them. Were linked to senior military retired now of generals and the rest, just linked to many prominent distinct. And in the course of our investigation, I mean, we now, let me just add also, we had 3 representatives from the Attorney Generals of the Federation Office, that's Minister of Justice, that were with us to guide us while we were making the case, so that because ultimately the Office of the Attorney General was to prosecute
those you arrest.
Right. Now, but as the thing progressed, I mean, we started noticing some kind of how should I put it? We noticed some kind of hesitation. I mean, things started coming up like, okay, some of these people, I mean, it would be difficult to pin terrorism financing on them, perhaps money laundering. I mean, look, then you started getting some calls that some people, prominent that you should release, so person is not this and that, something. This. As the commander, I made my concern known to the president, late President Muhammad Buhari. I made it, I said, so this, and I recall on one occasion, he stood up, very angry. He said, General, I appointed you as the commander of Operation Service Wide. You report to me and to me alone. That was his exact words to me. General Muhammad Buhari, a great man. I mean, of course, he had his shortcomings. I was very angry when the whole thing happened, and I mean, he didn't even raise a finger to this thing. But I later came to realize, that perhaps he was misled.
You say Tahiru devised a strategy, the late Chief of Army Staff,
yes,
to end terrorism in the north. Fill us in on this strategy. Is it being implemented now?
I don't know whether that strategy is implemented. Before delving into that, let me just say that the military and other security agencies are doing fantastic work. They're doing their best. They have challenges. Perhaps I'll come to that later. I mean, they listen, but they are doing their best, and they have a lot of challenges. Now, the strategy is nothing fantastic to say. I mean, it was just sincerity. Now, we had the OSW, which was on, right? It's set up in 2020.
You actually headed the OSW,
yes.
And the mandate was to dismantle the terrorism financing network.
Absolutely.
In order to fight against terrorism and insurgency. Will it be correct to say that you could not achieve that mandate?
No, we achieved.
Or that you failed?
No, we achieved. Because we achieved to an extent. Because we arrested the leadership of the Boko Haram, just like I said, the leader. I don't want to mention his name because I'm not too sure, but I understand, I heard from the grapevine that he was released along with the 5 key guys. And that leader of Boko Haram, just like I said, the United Arab Emirates shared that intelligence with us. I know, with all this. And he was the one who even recruited the 6 individuals. They were jailed, 2 for life, 1 for 30 years, 1 for 20 years, another 1 for 10 years, and another 1 for 5 years, the 6 of them. He was the recruiter of this thing. And yet, right, that man I learned, he and the 5 other guys who had this thing were released. I don't know for what reason. I don't know what reason. They were never prosecuted, not to the best of my knowledge. I don't know whether they were this, but they were never prosecuted. So, you see, those were kind of the fear, if I may use that term or word, the fear that one has over what has happened right now in terms of the arrest of those leadership. We hope that the thing we see will come to fruition. Yes.
You had written to the president concerning your arrest, detention, and compulsory retirement over what an investigation task force you headed unearthed. Tell us more about that.
Yeah, like I was arrested on the 18th of October 2021 and detained for 64 days under terrible condition, stripped of all my dignity. I mean, stripped. You know, a general being my headgear removed by a soldier, my boots, I was left barefooted, and in a cell. I mean, it was a terrible situation. And then on 21st of December 2021, they came to release me and they handed over my letter of compulsory retirement. And I made effort to get across to the late former president. And let me just add, as bitter as I am, as pained as I am over what Buhari did to me, as I said, I realized that he was naive. He was misled, and for that I forgive him, you know, and I urge anybody who has this thing, if it's on account of me, to forgive him for these things. But anyway, going back to that, on the I made strenuous effort to have that injustice corrected. It wasn't. Now on June 7th, 2023. That was exactly 10 days before my late mother passed away. She died on the 17th of June. Along the Kaduna-Abuja highway, I and my driver, we survived an assassination attempt. We were pursued by two vehicles, and at a point I had to call the commander of the troops along that highway, whom was appointed at the time. I was the general officer commanding one division, and they came, and that was what we were able to get away. You know, that was the fourth attempt. And on that, when that thing happened, of course, you can imagine my state of mind. I mean, 2 years after I was thrown out of the army, nothing done, this, and so I now wrote to the president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu. I wrote, and I passed the letter, you know, through a reliable listen to get across to him, because I didn't want to send it through the open mail. I never wanted this thing to be in the media. So that was, it was signed on the 21st of June 2023. Nothing was done. 6 months later, if you recall, January 2024, last year, that's when the news first broke, this day, and then you invited me to arise, and I came and listened. Then,
I'm afraid my time is up. We didn't have time to talk about the Presidency Institute, yes. BOI, which again you heard it was convened there, like you said, by the NSA, uncovering 295 oil tankers that convert petrol with major oil smugglers identified.
Now you are watching. Thrown out of the army, 2021. So I don't know.
When you say you were thrown out, what do you mean?
I was compulsory retired.
Right.
You know, I mean, there was an operation which I led, the Operation Service-wide, the counterterrorism, you know, to arrest those terrorism financiers, if you recall.
Right.
It was all over celebrated by even the former president, the former Attorney General, Minister of Defense. When when this came out and said we arrested, we picked the terrorism financiers, sponsors, all that. I was the commander of that, and I reported straight to the district. And they were in detention, and that was when we even picked, as a matter of fact, the leader of Boko Haram. The leader of Boko Haram was not Shekau. Shekau, you know,
was
died.
A spokesman, more or less, at the time.
Yes, the poster boy, so to speak. But the real leader, we captured him. And incidentally, or ironically, he's not even a Nigerian, but he claimed he's been in Nigeria for some time, but he's not a Nigerian. So, anyway, we arrested those guys, and they were in detention. We were collaborating with so many countries, about 33 countries, a key Western country, the United Arab Emirates, and we got a lot of intelligence from them. We picked those people. Some were picked from the battlefield, from the front lines. Some were even outside the country. We picked them, and they were in detention. And then waiting for them to be prosecuted. Then in September, October 2nd or thereabout, next thing I was invited, set for interview at the military police headquarters. And I went there on the 18th, and I was arrested myself and detained in a cell.
What for?
I don't know. was 10 initially. When I reported there, the interrogators said when I was removed as a general officer commanding on the 8th of August 2021, I handed over on the 10th of August 2021, 2 days later, because the posting came via signal posting in the night. I became aware of it the following day. That was on the 9th. So on the 10th, I handed over and left and continued with the Operation Service-Wide, that one that I reported to the design. The Operation Service-Wide was a multi-agency and military, organizations that were this, and the DSS was there, the NFI was there, the NIA was there, the DIA was there, and other this, and I was the head of that organization, and I reported straight to the president, and we picked those people, those top, including the leader of the Boko Haram, including 5 of the key guys of this. I was invited, and then when I got there, they said I was removed as a general officer commanding. That was, like I said, on the 10th of August, and I didn't report to the resource center, the Nigerian Army Resource Center, where I was supposed to listen. And what really happened was that when I was removed, I reported straight to the presidency and I said, okay, this was what they said, do not report. That they were going to address it.
Right.
And this thing. So I didn't know it was set up. They kept on this thing. I tried to report, they refused to this thing. The former president is there. There are people there in the presidency.
Well, I have to say that part of it sounds very complicated,
yes,
because we don't really know the background and everything, yes, to it.
Under President Bola Tinubu, Nigeria faces key challenges shaping its present and future. Observers continue to evaluate the state of democracy, noting both progress and concerns about governance and transparency. Insecurity remains a pressing threat, with communities across the country calling for decisive action to curb violence, kidnappings, and banditry. Meanwhile, relations with the United States are under renewed focus as both nations explore cooperation in trade, security, and diplomacy. Recent ambassadorial appointments signal Tinubu's intent to strengthen Nigeria's global presence and deepen partnerships, reflecting a broader effort to position the country strategically on the world stage.
Well, for more on this, we're joined in the studio live by Dr. Akin Faponda, who is the Director of Research of the Afenifere, a socio-political Yoruba cultural group. He's also a public affairs, policy, and governance analyst. Dr. Akin Faponda, thanks for joining us live on Daybreak on Arise News.
Good morning, viewers.
So, many people find the country at a critical crossroad, and some have defined this as a moment of truth. There have been some saying that the narrative points that some people must have sponsored the institution of insecurity for 15 years, for it to have been sustainable for 15 years. Do you think it's time to start naming the sponsors of this heinous act?
Actually, we are not going to the root of our problems at all. I served in Kanu State in 1975, 50 years. In BUK, then you see swarms of small boys trying to even eat the food you are eating on the table. Almajiris. Anybody who is alive in that time, no skills, no school, nothing. Between the age of 30 now, 40 and 50, they are the ones carrying the AK-47 all about. We are not going to the root of the problem. It's not to celebrate General Musa as a very good person. Competent, no doubt. But rather than call sociologists and call people who really know human behavior, we want to shoot our way through this problem. I'm not convinced that we are on the right track.
What's the right track?
The right track is as I told you now, we have 50-year-olds that I witnessed who have never gone to school. Their father is in Sokoto, they are with Malam in Maiduguri or in Lafia. No parental guardian, nothing. They are just on the streets. Grew up to 40 years of age, grew up to 45 years of age. Are they just going to melt away?
They can't just melt away. It's a social problem. It's not a guns problem at all. If you really want to go to the root of the problem, in my own opinion, the leaders of the North have not addressed the issue of how they promote their Majiri system. Their own children cannot be, my own child cannot be a Majiri. But they are so self-centered and they ignored all the children of the North that are not be going to school all these 50 years or more. What's going to happen? Nobody's talking about it.
Dr. Fakbonda, you've really given us something to reflect on. The root of our problems and the fact that we haven't solved our political issues, which will now help us to solve the social issues that you're mentioning. So let me take you back to politics, back in 2022, before the general elections in 2023, when Afenifere endorsed Mr. Peter Obi of the Labour Party from the Southeast, excuse me, against candidate Bola Tinubu from the Southwest. In fact, the late Pa Ayo Adebanjo seemed to be the arrowhead of that support for Mr. Peter Obi, although we had figures like Chief Ruben Fashoranti, who supported Tinubu. When you reflect on that today, does Afenifere regret that decision to support Mr. Peter Obi? Because he did say that it was in the interest of fairness, equity, and balance for the Nigerian project, and that is important to us living as a country in unity and advancing forward.
My brethren Yorubas, they think and behave as if we are in Udua Republic, where Yorubas can be entitled, they can be a Milokan, can be our Lokan. But the Nigerian landscape belongs to everybody now. So, Obasanjo has served 8 years. And so, Professor Vice President has served another 8 years as whatever. If we want to be inclusive and bring the whole country together, it's only the Igbo that have not been president. And Afenifere, my own faction, our own faction, believes in equity and justice. Once you have rigging your way, snatching your way, and getting into position, you are not even prepared. It's clear that our president now is not even prepared to govern from day one. Why are you appointing? In fact, you also have a battle list ready before you are sworn in. If you have economic diplomacy, you also have trained them on what you have asked them to go out to achieve. But it came in just one slogan: fuel subsidy gone. And then we went to sleep. Can you imagine the cost now, the ambassadors now? Do you know each one of them with their wife and children, how much business class ticket we have to pay? Can you imagine how many dollars they have to be given to the extra code? And they have less than 1 year to serve. A terrible waste of the system. If you had an orderly system where, as far as everyone wanted, Obi, nobody can doubt his capacity, nobody can doubt his competence, nobody is perfect as a human being. At that time, a word candidate for the time, the nation decided to do otherwise, and we are paying the price today, so unfortunately.
Now, you've spoken about ambassadorial appointments, and I want to ask you my next question on that. So do you think Tinubu's ambassadorial picks are based on competence or political rewards?
Well, let's have two categories. The career ambassadors, that's the peak of their career in service. They're supposed to have gone for 4 years term to serve the country properly. But they will not be hurried out. And in the next election, if Tinubu wins, some of them might be retained, but they have to be recalled again. Imagine the waste. So their careers have just been truncated. They have been lying idle for the last 2 years, just rotting away in Abuja. As for the politicians, it's just the good, the bad, and the ugly. I really cannot pick anyone seriously that is of the nature of Christopher Kolade, ambassador of High Commissioner in London those days. You cannot think of it. But the worst part is that in the next 4 months, it will take 4 months before they haven't be on post, because the countries have to agree to be ambassador before they will accept. They have to stand by when they are waiting for them to present credentials of their nomination. So the next 4 months is a waste in terms of resources, in terms of time. When you do something in a hurry, rush, you fail and fumble. It's so regrettable that we have this situation.
Yeah, Dr. Akin Faponda, I think it's time we also reflect on our model of democracy, because now there have been a lot of accusing fingers to President Tinubu on the presidential list. And we look at the Constitution, it gives, in section 171 of the Constitution, it gives him that power to appoint ambassadors, high commissioners, and principal representatives in foreign mission. That's one. But when you look at the model of democracy, fundamentally, it's like it thrives on inclusion. And so that brings us to the democratic process where politicians will have invested their money and all that, regardless of their ethical standard. And now that puts the president in a kind of dilemma for a kind of political patronage. So what would another president or a better president have done in this circumstance, given this controversial situation where he's torn between appointing career diplomats, people of impeccable characters, and also falling into the pitfall of political patronage, given our model of democracy and our style of democratic process?
In all honesty, I've on this channel counseled that we need to pause the political system. We are in the wrong direction. We'll keep going. Look, if Tinubu wins 2027 elections, all the decampees now that are decamping now, they are in line again for appointment. Once you fail or you lose election, you lose Senate, you have to be made the ambassador. The INEC chairman now will also have to make ambassador. I mean, we are following money show the day. We are in the wrong course of recycling these old people that are really tired. What we have now is politics of banditry. You predate, you fight your way, you become a senator, become a governor, and you just have to do all that it takes at all costs. This is not the right way to govern. We need to decentralize the power of the country. The president, we always say, is so powerful. What is the use of the power? He can't sit more than on a bed at a time. He cannot ride more than one jet. What is the big deal about this power that somebody cannot be reasonable? But we are suffering. Look, how much money has been spent on kinetics? How much is a bullet, as General Musa said? You fire a bullet, how much does it cost? All the soldiers are in the bush. We are not even talking about education. Nobody is talking about roads. Nobody is talking about artificial intelligence, which the world is embracing now. We are just living on predatory life of survivor. We need to really pause and spend the next 1 year to discuss the way we are living. But like it says so, are we together? How do we be together? When we do that, then all of us will have a sense of inclusion. And the best minds will volunteer. You don't need to spend 100 million to get a form.
Yes.
You don't need that. We need to reform the system fundamentally and strategically.
You mentioned one of the brilliant minds from the Southwest, Chief Bola Ige, the late Chief Bola Ige, who died in a very, very terrible circumstances. I'm not even sure whether his killers have been found. But let me look at Afenifere again, your organization, whose ideology is based on that of the late Chief Obafemi Awolowo, that advocated a philosophy of fairness, justice, and national well-being. So for some time now, it would seem that President Bola Tinubu is emerging or trying to emerge the Yoruba leader in the mode of Chief Obafemi Awolowo. Does Afenifere see him in that light?
Well, the Yorubas are very, let me not say sophisticated. Anybody can say whatever he wished. In the minds and hearts of Yoruba people, we know who is selfless, we know who is intellectual, we know who loves himself as he loves the others. It is true that our president now engineered himself. He used all means possible including Muslim ticket, including splitting Afenifere into two. But Afenifere, we were 11 in the executive of the Afenifere properly. Only 2 defected to Tinubu's side. The 9 of us are still intact in the Adebanjo fashion. It's a fact. So Afenifere is, we believe in welfareism. You know, freedom for all, life more abundant is the motto of Afenifere, and it stands. When Abanation now because Tinubu has seized the political space, and can anybody say this? And Awolowo will have produced blueprints in advance of coming. We know what's happened in 1979. UPN states were ready to govern under Awolowo direction. The same thing allowed for democracy too. But this haphazard governance and waking up and doing things, subsidy or no subsidy and all that, it's not Awolowo style. Nigerians should know it. Yorubas also know it too.
So you're essentially saying that President Tinubu was not ready to govern, and it's not ready to govern, and it's not doing well.
It's not me saying it. We already have 2 years of it. It's not me saying it. The facts are there. We now have evidence, empirical evidence. If I were to remove subsidy, I would have prepared all the palliatives in advance, automatically. How many CNG buses are on the road now? How many CNG buses? The only signature project of President now is the road from Lagos to Calabar, the road from Sokoto to Badagry. But in Yoruba areas, where are the roads? Osun State is down now. The governor is being strangulated. Is that an Awolowo mantra to strangulate your own area too? Osun State is down. It's dying. And Tinubu is watching. It's unfortunate.
Now, based on what you've just said, it has become quite apparent that public trust has been lost along the way. What actions do you think could be taken to regain and rebuild to boost the public trust once again?
The patriots visited President Tinubu last year. He affirmed that he wants to do economics, that politics will come later. He has done economics now. He has passed tax fraud reform. The tax reform, we are going to see a lot of crying when it comes to effect, but let's leave that aside. I still plead for President Tinubu to change gear. We have to look at the politics of Nigeria. He said, economy first, politics later. This next year is for politics. And the blueprint is there. It's just to send a bill to National Assembly to say, authorize for a new constitution to be debated and agreed on. By May, it could be done. By October 1, it could be effective. We should not go into the next election with this predatory system that we have now. Let him even plan to retire. 4 years enough as president of your country now. Must he be a Paul of Cameroon? It doesn't have to be. How many months did the Murtala rule the country, and we see the impact everywhere? How many months? Awolowo actually ruled Western region only up to 1959. He ruled from 54 to 59. And we still have the impact up to today. So if he can just bequeath a new polity on Nigeria in the next 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 months, all his sins will be wiped away, in my own record.
Okay. Now, as the ambassadorial designates, now we understand that they'll be facing the Senate Committee on Foreign Affairs, Foreign Relations for their screening, and afterwards they'll be taking their oath of office. So let's just tie down that as they prepare for their tour of duty, bearing in mind that Nigeria's foreign influence dwindled within the last 2 years of not appointing ambassadors, they're creating gaps in our economic diplomacy, citizenship diplomacy, and also shuttle diplomacy. What should be our main diplomatic focus as they prepare for their tour of duty?
In actual fact, I'm not privy to any document that says this is the thrust of Nigerian foreign policy. We know the time of Ike Wachuku when it was economic diplomacy during the Babangida years. We knew the trust of the foreign minister.
Yeah, the reason why I was asking this is that I read the Renewed Hope foreign policy, and it was a bit untidy, a bit scattered. So that's why I was asking, what should be our main foreign policy thrust as the ambassador prepared for their next tour?
Well, we are aligned to China a little bit. America is fighting back about it. We don't know whether we are non-aligned or aligned. There is no definitive position on Nigeria's trust. Africa used to be central focus of Nigeria policy. We don't know anymore. Foreign Affairs Minister, who is he now? I'm not asking. I know his name, but has he made a major speech? Has NIA in Lagos be committed to produce a blueprint on the trust? We are indebted. We are in loans to China. America is now putting us backward. They want to replace Chinese in mining. What have we decided on that as a country? What's our interest?
Okay.
We have not decided. So again, in the next 1 month or two, while they are seeking agreement for the postings, there have to be a small panel with Nigerian Institute of International Affairs to articulate a coherent navigation between the West and the East, the Chinese and the American. But it's not clear now at all.
Okay, let me take you up on what you said about the Constitution. You talked about the Patriots and their proposal, which you believe the president should take up or listen to. Are you implying that the current National Assembly Constitution review makes no sense, is not valid?
They want to amend the Constitution in 83 places. If you have a cloth that is used and you are a stone, and you want to patch it up in 80 places, why not just throw it aside and write an elegant constitution? We have a draft already. Nigerian constitution should not be more than 20 pages, federal. Relation between the federal and the regions or states. Then each region or state should go and craft its own constitution. Nigeria is not one nation, but we are in the same territory, no problem about. Let everyone go and do what suits them under Nigerian territory. So we need to have a federal draft. We need to have a state or regional draft. The Yorubas are different from Fulanis. The Hausas are different from Fulanis. Yes. It's nothing negative at all. We are just different. And even resources is different. North is farming. The south is crude oil. Middle belt is solid minerals. Even to focus on that.
Okay.
So guys, according to this headline, it says Sahara reporters uncovers 23 suspected terror financiers with billions in suspicious transactions. So guys, Nigeria has been faced with all these terror attacks. People have been coming out to say the problem is not even the bad guys in the bushes. The problem is, who are those giving them the guns they are carrying? Who are those financing them? Why are they not running short of ammunition? The Nigerian military do run short of weapons, short of bullets, but these guys, they don't run short of anything. Recently, we heard that they now operate drones and all kinds of sophisticated weapons. So guys, the question remains, who are the ones sponsoring them? You must have heard about Malami and Brutai being linked to terror financing in Nigeria. And now this news now is coming again, saying that Sahara reporters uncovers 23 suspected terror financiers with billions in suspicious transaction. 23 suspected terror financiers with billions in suspicious transactions. And this headline here says the network identified in this report spans both Nigerian and international actors with clear links to convicted individuals involved in terrorism. Sahara reporters obtained detailed information on a network of 20 Nigerians and 3 international individuals suspected of financing and facilitating terrorism, particularly linked to Boko Haram activities. So the Tinubu's government is not ready to release the names. Sahara reporters is now the one doing it for them. The investigation traces their personal data, financial transactions, and association, highlighting links to convicted individuals and international arms and fund transfer. Sahara reporters gathered that the Nigerian suspects arrested in 2021 were subsequently released under questionable circumstances. Who released them? That is the question. Number one is Alhaji Saidu Ahmed. also known as Alhaji Saidu or Alhaji Saidu Good, born in July 1961, is a Nigerian businessman residing in Kaduna, identified as key financier of Boko Haram. He is connected to multiple associations and convicts through extensive financial transactions. His account has recorded inflows totaling to 4.8 billion naira with frequent cash withdrawal. He is directly linked to convict Surojo Abubakar Mohammed, Ibrahim Ali Al-Sahan, and Bashir Aliyu Yusuf, and also a UAE court proceeding. As noted in a UAE court proceeding, this one say Hussaini Adamu, born in March 1963 in Nigeria, also known as Baba Hussaini or Hussaini Adamu, a businessman in Kanu, serving as a grantor for convict accounts. His BVN link account 111 across 9 banks, 111 across 9 banks reflects inflow, outflow exceeding 43 billion naira and 50 billion naira respectively. He has been implicated in facilitating and procurement of weapons and other logistics for terrorist activities. Muhammad Sani Adamu is the third person, also a businessman, a trader in forex and precious stone, operating in Kano and in Yola. Now, wow, God. And then you have Abubakar Adamu. He's from Kano, a businessman with 42 accounts across 13 banks. Hey, between 2014 and 2019, he executed transfer amounting to tens of millions of naira to convicts and key associate of Alhaji Saidu. It's really so pathetic what is happening in Nigeria. Then you also have another person here, Mutala Abdullahi Jega, born on December 1, 1970. Mutala Jega is Kano-based BDC operator with 94 accounts in 9 banks. Now, wow. He received 60 million naira from convict Bashir Ali Yusuf and transferred funds to leaf tobacco and commodities reportedly used in procuring weapons for terrorist activity. He also received significant sum from associates of convicted individuals, reflecting deep entanglement in illicit network. And then you also have Sadiq Garba, who is also operates as a trader in Kano. These are northerners with 30 accounts across 13 banks. How do they open all these accounts? Can you imagine? They open all kinds of accounts. How can somebody be getting more than 50 accounts in like few banks? What are you doing with all these accounts across 13 banks? He transfers over 1.6 billion naira to convict Surajo Abubakar Mohammed between 2015 and 2017, as well as additional funds. These were all under Buhari's government. Funds to other convicted individuals and other associates. Now, wow. And another person here is Hussaini Adamu. Hussaini Adamu is Kano-based with financial linking to convicts, totaling billions of naira, transferring funds among members of the network. His role has been pivoted in facilitating across convict circles. And then you have Mustafa Ibrahim Yakubu, who is also from Kano State. And this one is Abubakar Ali Abdullahi Yusuf, who is also from Kano State. And then you have Naisuru Shaibu, who is from Mina, operate between Guzo and Mina. And then you have Yusuf, who is also from Kanu. He's a forex trader with account across 10 banks. He's transferred funds to multiple convicts, and his name in UAE called Judgment. It's really sad. Then you have Mansour Mohammed Usman, a textile dealer in Kano. Then you have Yazid Usman, also a businessman in Kano. So these people are mostly northerners from Kano, mostly Kano, Kaduna. Oh my God, they are the ones. Can you imagine 23 names being published as terror financiers, and Nigeria keep borrowing money and pumping it into defense with no result? I pray Tinubu will develop thick skin to go after these people. Anyway, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Thank you.